back to another episode of Rusted Up Garage. This would be part 2 of part 1. Part 1 you may or may not have seen yet. Depends on when part 2 comes out. I know this sounds confusing, everybody, okay? And I apologize for the confusion. But what we're working on today is Zach's 2017 GMC. You know, the truck that has, I think it has 11,000 miles on it now. It had 10 when we started part 1 video. You may be saying to yourself, what are we doing Zach's truck today? Let me tell you, okay? Again, part 2. Why? It's part 1 we haven't completely finished yet. And it was supposed to go before part 2, but part 2 stuff came in, and we decided to do part 2 before we did part 1. Part 1 will be coming out after part 2. It's confusing, okay? But just know that there's 2 parts. This is part 2. Part 1 will be coming out soon. Does that make sense? That's what I thought so. So, in order to see part 1, after watching part 2, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the dinger, hit the like, just share with people, okay? We're like 400 and something people, okay? My New Year's resolution is to grow this channel to, what do you think, Zach? 1,000? Can we get 1,000 people in 1 year? We're gonna double the channel size, which technically we're on like 400 and something, so it'll only be 800, so maybe 1,000 is a bit of a reach, but that's what we're doing. So we need you guys to share this sucker out, tell us what to do. I mean, we got some cool content coming, okay? The wagon is about to go under the knife and become the super wagon. You're not gonna wanna miss any of the wagon footage, because I'm sure we're gonna mess some stuff up on that one. Just saying. But let's get into today's program, where we finally freed the lift up to get the 11,000 mile GMC pickup truck on it. What are we gonna do with a truck like this, you may ask? You come to the table and I'm gonna show you. Come on, come on, let's go. Well, ho, came. And Zach got himself a lowering kit. Now, what's in this lowering kit, you may ask? Spindles, drop spindles. They drop it 2 inches. Yep, 2, okay? Struts. You can go up to like 3 inches. So a total of 5 inches with all of this. I don't think we can go that low, because it just, mathematically figuring some stuff out, I think we're gonna go 3 in the front, and that's what we're gonna do. So 2 plus 1. So we'll just remove a collar or 2, okay? So we got these to put on, which Zach didn't realize we needed a strut compressor to put these on. I don't know how we thought we were gonna get that big spring off from here, but anyways, okay? The rear comes with shortened shocks. They're just shorter than the regular ones because we're gonna bring the truck down. Okay? This is a really nice kit, by the way. Very nice kit. It comes with new hanger brackets. So we gotta basically chisel the other ones off the frame. That seems like fun. It comes with flip kit parts because the axle needs to go on the other side of the springs. It comes with all this hardware and stuff. It only comes in 1 block. That's interesting. I'm gonna show what that's for. But we're not gonna worry about that.
It's not for this application, I don't think.
I guess we're reusing your bolts. Okay. And some other stuff. And it also comes with all these stickers. So you can basically sticker anything you want. Oh, we got all of these parts right here. Which really is not a lot of parts. It seems like a lot, but it's not really a lot of parts. And the biggest thing is the front's gonna kind of suck because, you know, we're gonna pull a whole thing apart to, you know, bring her down. But so we're gonna start with part 2, which is getting this truck to the ground. And then part 1 will be coming. And part 1 you're not gonna wanna miss because we may or may not be removing the engine from this truck. Part 1. So we're gonna remove the engine from the truck. That's what we do, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, what we wanna do now is we're gonna get some tape. And we're gonna put a little piece of tape on the fenders, okay? And then we're gonna take some measurements. You obviously parked me crooked on this side when we got on here, so I want me to measure. Well, I guess I can measure to the ground on the lift, right?
Yes.
Then we can take the digicals of the lift off from the numbers, and we'll know exactly all the numbers. So what we're gonna do is get some tape on this sucker, all the way around. Put some measuring, mark them, write them down. And then the fun's gonna begin. I think we're gonna do the back first. You know why? That way you can, do the squat. I think that'd be fun. What do you think, Zach? Squat it.
I think we should do the front first.
Nope, no, we're gonna squat it first. Then you can take it out for a drive to the Walmart. Get yourself a lady. Because you know, ladies, he's free. Yeah, he's available. He's looking for a woman, possibly that can weld, because we got a lot of welding we need to do. Ain't afraid to get her hands dirty. Working on junk like we do. So, I mean, if you're a lady that likes to weld, in the probably 21 to 26-year-old range, likes to get their hands dirty, likes racing, available. Available, ladies. He's very good with the keyboard, too. He's one of those keyboardies. There's your plug. It's rustedupgarageonly.com. Right there. Sorry, I get distracted. It's been a long week. Been a long month. So, you guys are kind of getting Ricky on, just raw Ricky. And it may even be whiskeyed Ricky a little bit. But, you ready to get after this thing, Zach? This is your truck.
Yeah.
This ain't Ricky's truck.
No, yours is next.
So, you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to run the camera. Make Zach do some work. How's that sound? Uh-huh. Yep. That's what we're going to do. So, off the marking stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Off the marking stuff. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and members of our jury, Zach is finally getting to work while I get to watch. This is something new for you guys. He ain't going to talk much, though, because he don't generally say much. But as you can see, he's putting tape on around the truck. I mean, look at that. I mean, you can literally, you can throw a dog through that right there. I mean, that's like, Zach wants like that. I mean, I don't know how far we can get her down, Zach. We might have to do some cutting. The other thing, too, that I want to bring up, okay, is the fact that the instructions say that we got to remove the fuel tank. Because GM put the bolt in from the other direction. Pulled the spring out. But I think we can cheat this side and not take the gas tank out. And why don't we want to take the fuel tank out, Zach?
Because I just put fuel in it 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. So it's full.
Mm-hmm. So that means what?
It's super heavy.
It's heavy. It's heavy. So if you're gonna do one of these kits, you may want to run the truck out of fuel. But Zach don't go far, considering he works, here in the shop. And a full tank of gas will basically last him till next Christmas. We don't got that much time. So here we are, we're gonna come up with a different solution. Ready for that solution? You guys will see it in a bit. But Zach needs to get his measurement done. So we're gonna measure everything, and then I'll be back. Want a pretzel? Okay. I'll share them with you. I only charge 25 cents a piece for these. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna give you the measurements. So we just drew a line. This is 44 inches, which is, about this far above that, 44 inches. 6 inches from tire to here. Okay. It's 48 inches to here, which is almost the same spot. Pretty close. 8 7/8.
No.
I'm sorry, 8.75. That's
3/4.
3/4, Zach. 3/4 in the real world, okay? 8 3/4, not 0.75. What kind of crap is this? Digitals. So, with the math, this is 2.75 or 2 3/4 more. We want this thing pretty much level and pretty much low. So, what's the next step, Zach?
Lift it.
Lift it. Take tires off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I guess what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put you on a tripod in the corner, and we'll do a little fast forward. And we're gonna lift it, take tires off of it, do some evaluations, and we'll get back with you in just a bit after I eat my pretzels. So now the tires are off, and I kind of walk you through this. I'm going to remove you from the stand and show you what we got to do, okay? Okay, it's a little dark up in there. But you can kind of see. Zach would do his light bulb, that'd be helpful. But that shackle right there needs to come out, because the new shackle is going to flip that over. So it's actually going to bolt from up underneath instead of up over the top. So that guy's got to come out, right? And then obviously the rubber needs to come out there, and then we got to drop out the brake lines down a little bit, and we got to unbolt all of this guy because we got to do an axle flop and put it on the top. Here's the big problem we run into right here, okay? See that bolt right there, that bolt? It goes into the gas tank right here, okay? So in order to actually remove the spring to be able to put it on top of the axle, we have to drop the gas tank out just to get this bolt slid out to slide back in. So I'm hoping we can get the other side out and then finesse, if we pull the drive shaft, finesse the axle just up over this one. So we don't have to take out that one bolt. That's what I'm hoping for. So, right?
Yes.
With all luck, that's gonna happen.
Probably not though.
And guess what? My phone's now ringing. Little lesson here, okay? So, if you look up in here, there's 2 bolts here that hold your reese hitch on that we had to pull off, right? And third for your reese hitch. The only bolt left holding your bumper on is this one right here, okay? Well, that bolt has to come out to pull this rear shackle off that we're talking about, okay? Well, if you remove that bolt, the bumper's just gonna pretty much drop out of sight. It's just gonna, you know, you might lose your teeth. So, as a warning, okay, go ahead and put one of these bolts back in the bottom. It's threaded right here. You can just thread it up in there, in the frame, before you take out this bolt. So when the bumper drops, you don't remove the pearlies, okay? Little note. Now while I'm at it, I'm gonna show you, this bracket has to come off. We're gonna have to cut off this bracket, I believe, and that, and then we're gonna remove the whole bump stock brackets. So, and these brackets. And we're gonna cut those brackets. So this ain't really a bolt-on kit. It's gonna require some cutting, just so you guys know from home. You're gonna need a couple tools to do this job, okay? Now we're gonna go back to our regularly broadcast whatever. Okay, I am sweaty. Well, if you didn't notice in the video, if you take off the wheel speed sensors and you unhook the vent line and unhook the top of the brake lines, you can spin the rear end around enough and scoot it over up underneath the body underneath to get this leaf spring up around it without having to drop the fuel tank to get that one bolt out. So, I mean, it's a little tricky. You gotta finesse it, but it'll go. So, got that done. Got to put that bolt, Zach flipped the bolt around because now we're flipping the axle, obviously. I had to cut the shackles off the back, which are these guys, which are not real bad. You just got to cut the, obviously, the rivets out. Now, I'll tell you what was a real pain right in the old painter is these guys, these bump stops. Why they insist on welding them all the way around? I mean, they don't even weld the frame all the way around, but they weld the bump stops all the way around. Oof, the loo. So you can cut it here and kind of cut it here, kinda. But I ended up having to just get after it with the air hammer. And this is where a good air hammer is gonna come in play, okay? On all of this, go ahead, what do I got? I don't even remember, I don't even know.
Oh, it's on the CNC.
I mean, I got one of these long barrel Matco ones, okay? Now this thing right here will basically cut through anything. Invest in a good one if you're gonna do stuff like this because, I mean, that sucked. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That sucked. But as you can see, they're gone. So the bump stops are gone. I just gotta get in there and grind it a little bit. The shackles are gone. Zach's getting ready to bolt the new shackles in place, and once we get them in place, we can actually bring the springs back up and bolt on them, and then work on getting the rear end bolted down, and then this thing will be like that. So Zach can't wait taking it to Walmart. Yeah, that's what he said. Oh, but I just kind of want to give you a little. That's what we got going on, and it can be done. You got to finesse it. It's definitely doable, and this job just sucks. The wax coating on these trucks is nasty. GM was idiots with the wax coating on these trucks. Idiots. If you got one of these trucks, just take the body off, take the cab off, sandblast frame, and paint it. That's what I'm saying to do. But anyways, we'll put you back in the corner. I gotta fire up the grinder and clean that up. Zach's gonna get ready and bolt these on. And then we'll get ready and bring the springs up, and then, you know, we'll get with you guys and show you where we're at. Sound good? Of course it sounds good.
It's on now.
It's on.
On.
On. Okay, where we're at. You gotta cut these little tabs off, okay? Because this piece right here goes up over it for the axle flip like that, okay? And then we got these on here. Now we could technically change these out for the stock ones and it'll pick this up even higher. But we're gonna start with this and kind of see where it brings us. So, next thing is to put the springs up in it, and then we can get the rear end kind of where we need it. So that's where we're headed next. Put springs in it, Zach.
Yep.
Okay, I'm a mess. Rear is done. So, new shackle uppers, new shackle pieces. We have not finished tightening these bolts yet until we get the suspension set on the ground. We're not gonna put the spare tire in until we're all done. New shocks are up in. They all went in fine. The new bracket bolts these on, no problem. All the other lines laid right in just like they're supposed to. The drive shaft's tight. It's a little concerning. I'm not gonna worry about it just yet. But the drive shaft is a little tighter than I would like to see it. And I don't know. Might have, I mean, there's a little bit. We might have to do a little bleep looping on that and just see what people are saying about the drive shafts on these things. So, because I don't know, getting this one cut down, it's aluminum.
Probably just get a new one ordered.
Yeah, which we don't really want to do.
No,
But,
expensive.
expensive. Trying to think what else there is. Everything else is just laid in here, just like it's supposed to. You can see, we did not put the bump stops in. Zach painted. I'm not going to touch it because it's drying. And all the brackets are back in everywhere. We're getting ready to throw the tires on it, set it down, and see how she does the old Carolina squat. So stay tuned for tires and squatting. Then we move to the front. Okay, she's on the ground. Told you. What did I tell you?
It's definitely.
She's ready to go to Walmart's. Oh yeah, Zach. You're gonna be
No.
picking up the old chicks at the Walmart's.
No.
Like he's one of them big antennas now, like them guys put on. No.
Like tractor trailer ones?
It's not high enough. We gotta pick the front up at least another foot to get it right. But as you can see, so the back, according to measurements right now, is 5 inches down from where she was. She's a solid 5 inches all the way down. So now what we need to do is start on the front. So now that we know that the back went 5 with this current kit, we want an inch of rake on the truck going forwards because we don't want the Carolina slot. So we took 5 inches out of the back.
Actually, it's only going to be like ½ an inch of rake.
And then, so we need to take 3 inches out of the front. And those spindles will do 2, and then we'll take an inch with the struts. So we'll take a full 3 out of the front. It'll be about just under an inch rake lower, lower in the front. But I think we can get 3 inches with no tire issues. So, I guess next we gotta jack it back up, pull the front tires off from it, and this is gonna be a project. Because we gotta pull spindles, we gotta pull struts, we gotta pull everything.
Everything.
But the back was quite a project too. It's a lot of work. You end up with a pile of it. See, look at that, all that. You don't basically need any of that anymore. No. But so far the kit's great. I mean, it did seem to place the axle ahead a little bit compared to where it was sitting before for some reason. I think. Maybe it didn't. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to go outside and measure your half-ton truck.
Measure my half-ton truck.
See where it's
And
sitting.
see where it's sitting. But it just, the drive shaft got a little bit tighter. But this clearance, it has room. It's just it's tighter. So, but I mean, there's no way to change that. They're fixed pin positions. So, I guess, guys, we're gonna move on to the front.
After dinner.
After dinner. Now that I finished chewing Zach's turd that he just let out of his pants, whew, the loo. I don't know what this kid's been eating, but. Where was I at before I was rudely interrupted?
It's day 2. Welcome back.
Day 2, welcome back.
Blah, blah, blah. Whatever that's even.
So you know we finished the back, because you just watched that 2 seconds ago. So now we're on to the front. I'm not going to tell you any lies. We've already done the other side. Because that's what we like to do. Since I've never done it before, I figured I'd just give a whack at it. It's not hard, but it is a little time consuming, and it's going to require some cutting. The bolts for the ball joints need to be cut. That's a big one. Another little thing we ran into is make sure you clock your upper piece, which I'll explain when we pull a strut. Okay. What else was there? The knuckle, you really got to beat the crap out of it to get it off that lower ball joint because there's no pressure left on it when that time comes. And
Make sure you have never sees.
yeah, make sure you get never sees. So I'm gonna stop boring you. I keep talking, and I'm just because I just ate. You know how it is. You eat a big supper, and after supper you want to take a little nap. That's where I'm at. Okay, but I'll come into it. You know why? Because I got me some hot cocoa. Got me some hot cocoa. So, I'm gonna get cranking on getting this thing apart. Zach's gonna set it up on the stand. Once I get some stuff apart here, we'll show you some stuff on the old, and show you the differences, and we'll reassemble this thing, get it on the ground, and I hope it's right, because if it's not, too bad. I ain't taking it back apart, Zach. What do you think of that? That's what I thought. Okay, back to work, you filthy animal. Just so you know, beating the ball joints out without a pickle fork can suck. So, get a pickle fork. Don't be Ricky. Get a pickle fork. Okay, so these right here, I got the strut in here. This is like this really on any car that has front struts. So you got your spring that's compressed onto this strut, okay? Now, if we were to say back this nut off right here, right now, this spring would come off from this strut at an alarming rate and bounce around the shop and probably remove a few sets of teeth in the process. So, when you're doing struts, you always want to be careful. There's two rules to struts. First rule is use a strut compressor. Now, these are not necessarily the best strut compressors, but they're the ones that you can rent for free at your local parts store. You go pay a deposit and they'll give them to you and you just bring them back, okay? Now usually they're pretty beat up like these are, but they do work. The rule number 2 when doing struts, actually there's 3 rules. Never take the nut off without these compressed, okay? Third rule, once this is all apart and these things are hanging onto these by the skin of their chin, do not put face on top of strut at any point during this operation. Because if that nut, for some reason, when you're bolting everything together, ain't started and this thing releases, that spring's coming off from there, and you're not gonna have a good day. Let's just say you'll be eating your steak with a straw. So, now we got that clear.
This goes for coilovers too, like on your race car. Or...
Yeah, you want the spring pressure off from them. So like I said, these right here are not the best, but will they work? Absolutely. So just crank down on one. Don't use an air gun on these, okay? They already have enough problems. Try to get them equally spaced and straight on both sides.
Obviously the best you can. It can't always be.
And they have these little safety tabs that kind of hold it in. But as you can see, our springs are too big for safety. So we're going safetyless. Just, going easy. Now we'll test it before we
release that upper nut.
Release that upper nut.
You just
We're almost there, and how I can tell that we're almost there is to see the spring is now spinning.
starting to
Starting to spin
around the strut.
around the strut. Now it gets real hard here at the end, partly because these tools have been hammered to death.
Probably with an impact gun and
Yeah, so, but that should be good. See, we got that free like that. I know the next strut. Now another thing too is a lot of people will tell you is to not use an impact gun on struts. You grab the 18. I'll be right back. Now what I'm going to do, I know you're not supposed to. Some people say you don't, but I'm just going to go easy. On that, making sure, you know, that we don't have that much compression. Now she's gonna really tighten up on these. But we know we're pretty loose here. We can tell that by this. She might spring a little, but it's not gonna be much. Just a little bit. So now, we won't be needing these nuts where we're going, because that's for the old strut. We will need this guy, the cap, and then we're also going to need this guy,
which is directional.
which is directional. That little notch goes to the back, okay? Well, at least on this application. Now, another thing we're going to need, and we got to get it out somehow.
This one's staying attached, so that's good.
Trying to get this out now. It's just stuck. Okay, so here's your bump stop
We don't need.
and your little retainer, which has a little notch. I'll show you what that's for in a second. Okay. So we don't need the bump stop.
That's for the old strut.
That's for the old strut. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna carefully remove the spring, because again, this spring is loaded. Okay.
And
I'm
we
gonna
set
set it right over here.
where it's not going to cause any damage if it comes apart.
So it's out of our way for safety. Okay. Next, we're gonna get this collar off from here, because we need this collar. Now, where's the new one?
Right here.
So, we don't need that. We need this, and we don't need these for this application. We just need that one. Now, if you look at this setup, you'll see that this is the same as stock, okay? So, according to the instructions, each ring is 1/2 of an inch. So we want, since we're doing a 2-inch spindle, we want to get another inch up. So we're gonna pull 2 of these guys out, and we're gonna put this back over it, just like this. So now, this is lower. See it? Okay? So what we're gonna do now, is we're gonna pull this strut out, and we're done with him. Some good struts. These things only have 10,000 miles on them. We'll throw them in the trash. We're gonna put
New strut.
the new strut in. Now, we're gonna put this collar on. Okay. Now, in our little thing, This is that chamfer. That chamfer is going to go down. It sits like this, and then the collar, which would be this guy, sits on top to there, and then we bolt it all together. That's how that works, okay? So we know we need the collar. So we're gonna put the collar in here, the right direction, and then we're gonna put our new bump stop in, which is shorter. Save that. Now, we're gonna carefully come back over here and grab our spring and slide it back over top of here, like this.
Rotate the isolator so that it
Isolates. Now we're gonna drop this back in here, like this, like it's supposed to be, okay, all the way down. And then we know this is the front of the spring, because this is how we had it set before. And we're going to put this back over top of this. Well, I say that. Like that, okay? I need the spool. Now I'm gonna take this, put this back on here, and my nut, and start my nut, okay?
now you need the socket that's over there. It's on the extension.
Now, making sure this is going the right way, which it is. I'm gonna come up here. Okay, now I know that's on there. Okay, so now I know we're basically safe. Now there are little catches in these boots when you put these back on.
Yeah, they catch the.
So now what we gotta do is just, which actually I found worked better, was pull this out, bring this down here, put this right here. Okay?
Now that's not going nowhere.
Yeah. Now I can start backing this guy up.
Now, if you're going back with a factory strut, you won't have to untwist that nearly as far. But we're going with a drop strut. We have to basically extend the spring out that extra inch. Correct?
Okay, just like that, the strut's changed. But now we do got to get the clips over here, change the clips out. Got a little hammer right there? Mm-hmm. Okay, strut's good. So haul this over here.
Are we going to put that in?
I don't know.
You couldn't do that again if you tried.
No, not yet. I'm going to fix the other part when I'm right over there. Put this part on. Okay.
Now what are we doing?
I'm going to change the spindle. So here is the stock spindle. Okay.
The new spindle's on the table.
The new spindle's of course on the table. New spindle's on the table. So as you can see, it raises that up quite a bit. Quite a bit of difference between the two. So where we're running into problems is on the back side, where that bolt goes. As you can see, it's way up there. So you end up having to cut
The upper ball joint.
the upper ball joint. What am I doing, Zach?
Becoming a tin man.
Why am I becoming a thin man?
Because we don't like things seized on.
That's right. We don't like things seized on.
Now, if you had a two-wheel drive pickup, you wouldn't have to trim that upper ball joint bolt
Correct.
because you don't have a CV shaft going through that hole.
But we do. So that's a particular torque spec for this application, in case you wanted to know.
You're touching now, I think. You are.
Okay, I don't know if you can see it or not, but see how it's touching right there? So you gotta do is get up in there and cut it. That's what the instructions say. So this part basically sucks.
Because you don't want to cut your CV shaft boot.
Right. So you gotta kind of get in there and just cut. You got it. Right? That sucked. I do that, just cut this bottom off too. You gotta cut the bottom off too. That's how much I cut off of it. Okay, here's another thing too. These two bolts right here, which holds this steel bracket on,
They're really tight on you.
and that holds this steel bracket on, which holds the calipers on. Always put a little bit of Loctite, like some orange or blue on these, because these right here will come out. And when they do, it's usually always the lower one. I don't know why it is. What happens is the lower one comes out, you go to hit your brakes, these things roll up like this, and this jabs right into your rim, and then puts the hole right through the rim. Stops the truck.
Every time.
Yeah. So I always put a little Loctite on those. So now all we got to do is we just got to lower it down. We got to tighten up these 3 bolts up here, and then that's what Zach needs to get on the brakes, and so we can tighten up these castle nuts right here. But that's it. So just give it a few minutes, and we'll be back. We're gonna tighten up this stuff, and we'll get our son on the ground. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and members of our jury, as you can see, we have officially brought in the Zach machine back outdoors. And I must say it's definitely a lot lower, if you can't tell by the way my arm's now resting on this mirror, which you couldn't do before. But we achieved what Zach wanted. We set her down. It's pretty level actually. It's a little high in the rear, but not much. And we achieved a little over 2 in the front and a little over 4 in the rear. After all said and done, time settles, it'll probably be a little bit better. But I mean, I think overall the kit worked really well. There's a few things, obviously, that with having to cut the bolts is a little bit of a pain. Obviously the struts can be a bit of a pain. But other than that, I think she's pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna steal the camera from Zach, and I'm gonna let him do the walk around with this old girl since it's his. And close out this video. Okay, Zach, time for you to speak. So what do we got going on here in the front? What do we end up with in the front?
So if you don't remember, we started with 6 from the top of the tire here
6 to there.
to the
Yeah.
floor. And now we measure it. We're at just a tickle under 4.
A little under 4 now. Okay. So we want 2.25 inches in the front.
Yep.
Okay. And you can see, look, Larry, I mean, right here. Look. Nice. Okay. Now you can tell she is a little higher in the back, but not by much.
Now, started 8 3/4.
8 3/4.
And we're at 4 1/4.
4 1/4. So, I mean, that's a solid. I mean, dude, that's a lot of mass. That's, you know, all the maths right there. You know, but I mean, look. So, overall, I mean, I would say you can get back in your picture there, Zach.
No, because they can really take her in.
Take her in. Bring her in.
Now,
I mean,
it does need some slightly lower profile tires.
it does need some lower
got
profile
that.
tires, but
These tires are good, so I'm not going to replace them until they need replacing.
I mean, overall, it's a whole new truck. I mean, she is just slammed down to the ground now. So now, this is part 2. Remember, you guys haven't seen part 1, and there's probably going to be a part 3 to this truck. So, stay tuned.
Probably need maybe flip her around and.
Now you can close her out, man.
No.
Just tell them what they need to do, Zach.
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, you got to hit the like button if
Yeah.
you like, you know, lowered trucks. If you don't, wait, because that truck over there, it's not getting lowered. So stay tuned for that one.
We don't want to miss part 1 of this truck,
Yeah, you don't want to miss part 1 of this truck.
which is coming out after part 2.
Yep, after part 2. Then you're definitely gonna want to stay around for part 3, probably if there's a part 3.
There will definitely be a part 3.
So, you know, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we release part 1 and part 3.
And
You know, so
is that it?
I think that's it.
So what do we do now?
Peace out. Till next time.